हाय फ्रेंड, आवाज येतो का माझा?
हो सर.
Yes, sir.
ओके. Okay, in last lecture, today we will continue our last lecture. In last lecture, we have seen some properties. We will continue this. That is, the properties are nothing but prove each of the following. Each of the followings. Okay, that first one is if A is congruent to B modulo n and m divides n, then A is congruent to B modulo m. Second one is if A is congruent to B modulo n and C greater than 0 be any arbitrary integer, then C into A is congruent to C into B modulo C into n. Third one is if A is congruent to B modulo n and the integers A, B and n are divisible by some integer some d greater than 0, then A upon D is congruent to B divided by D modulo n upon D. So here we have to prove these three properties, that is three statements. That is, in first one we have to prove if A is congruent to B modulo n and m divides n, then A is congruent to B modulo m. In second one, if A is congruent to B modulo n and C greater than 0 be any arbitrary integer, then C into A is congruent to C into B modulo C into n. And in third one, if A is congruent to B modulo n and the integers A, B and n are divisible by some d greater than 0, then A upon D is congruent to B upon D modulo n upon D. Let us see its solution. Okay, now let us see first one. So given that A is congruent to B modulo n, and by definition of congruence, we know that if A is congruent to B modulo n, then n must divide the difference of these two integers A and B, which implies n divides A minus B, which is from definition of congruence. And also it is given that m divides n, that is in first statement it is given that this one m divides n. So here we get m divides n and n divides A minus B. Then by properties of divisibility, we know that if A divides B and B divides C, then A must divide C. That is, transitivity holds for divisibility. As here m divides n and n divides A minus B, then m must divides A minus B, which implies m divides A minus B, which is from properties of divisibility. That is, if A divides B and B divides C, then A must divides C. So here, as m divides A minus B, now here we have to apply the definition of congruence. As here m divides the difference of two integers A and B, then by definition of congruence, A must be congruent to B modulo m. Okay, which is again from the definition of congruence. Okay, so here we get from this we say that if A is congruent to B modulo n, yeah, so first statement will be true. Now in second one, given that A is congruent to B modulo n and C be any arbitrary integer which is greater than 0. As A is congruent to B modulo n, then by definition of congruence, n divides A minus B, as n divides A minus B. Now we have to multiply the numerator and denominator by C. As C is greater than 0, then we can multiply the numerator and denominator by C, which implies n into C is divides C into A minus B, which is nothing but C into here, the integer C into n divides the difference of two integers C into A and C into B. Now here we have to apply the definition of congruence, as Cn divides Ca minus Cb, which implies Ca must be congruent to Cb modulo Cn, which is from definition. Okay, so from this we say that, so if A is congruent to B modulo n and C is greater than 0, then Ca is congruent to Cb modulo Cn. Now we have to prove same for the divisibility also. That is, in third one we have to divide by some d greater than 0. Let us see. For third one, given that A is congruent to again B modulo n, and also given that D is an integer which is greater than 0 and it divides A, B and n. So as A is congruent to B modulo n, then by definition n divides A minus B. As D is an integer which divides all the integers A for n upon D divides A minus B upon D. That is, this can be written as n upon D divides, this can be written as A upon D minus B upon D. Therefore, here we get, as already we have given that D is an integer which divides all the integers n, A and B. Therefore, n upon D must be an integer since D divides n. Similarly for A upon D and B upon D, since A and B are divisible by D, then it must use the values integers. Therefore, an integer n upon D divides the difference of two integers A upon D, B upon D. As it divides the difference of these two integers, then from the definition of congruence, A upon D must be congruent to B upon D modulo n upon D. Therefore, if A is congruent to B modulo n and D is greater than 0 and D is an integer such that which divides all the integers A, B and n, then A upon D must be congruent to B upon D modulo n upon D. Okay, any doubt?
No, sir.
Now there is one theorem. Before that, let us see. There are some definitions. First one is, what is a list residue? Okay. If A is congruent to B modulo m such that this b is greater equal by 0 and which is less than m, then b is called a list residue of a modulo m. Okay, what should be list residue? If a is congruent to b modulo m, where b is greater equal by 0 and which is less than m, then this b is called list residue of a modulo m. And second definition is, what is a minimal residue? Second one is minimal residue. Okay, now let us see its definition. If a is congruent to b modulo m such that 0 is less equal by modulus of b and which is less equal by m by 2, then b is called minimal residue of a modulo m. It is also called as a absolutely list the residue of a modulo m. List the residue of a modulo m. Okay, what is the list residue? If a is congruent to b modulo m and b lies between close to 0 to m, that is 0 is less equal by b which is less than m, then b is called a list residue of a modulo m. And minimal residue is nothing but if a is congruent to b modulo m and 0 is less equal by modulus of b which is less equal by m by 2, then b is called a minimal residue of a modulo m, and which is also called as a absolutely least residue of a modulo m. Actually residue means remainder, that is b is nothing but the remainder when a is divisible by m. Okay, these are the definitions of least residue and minimal residue. Now we have to see one theorem.
सर
Yes.
काही जणांना जॉईन होता येत नाही सर.
Okay.
हॅलो सर.
Yes.
2-3 स्टुडंट्सना जॉईन होता येत नाहीये.
हा येस, त्यांना जॉईन करा म्हणून सांगा मला, मी होईल आता. झाले का जॉईन?
येस सर.
Yes.
ओके. Let b greater than 1 be a fixed integer, then any positive integer capital N can be expressed uniquely in terms of powers of b which is greater than 1 as follows. That is, n is nothing but am b raised to m plus am minus 1 b to the power m minus 1 plus up to so on plus a1b plus a naught, where the coefficients ai, whenever I lies between 0 to m, can take b different values, take b different values 0, 1, 2 up to so on b minus 1. So this one is the statement of our theorem. If suppose b greater than 1 be a fixed integer, as already given that b is greater than 1, then it must be a positive integer. Therefore it is given that b is greater than 1 be a fixed integer, then we can express any positive integer n in terms of powers of b as follows. That is, any integer n can be expressed in terms of powers of b, and this representation of this n must be unique. That is, we have to prove that this representation is unique. So first we will prove any integer n which is a positive integer, it can be expressed in terms of powers of b, in terms of powers of b. In first step we will prove it can be expressed in terms of powers of b, and in step 2 we have to prove that this representation must be unique, where the coefficients ai are nothing but 0, 1 to up to so on b minus 1. That is, each ai has b possibilities, 0, 1 to up to so on b minus 1. That is, they are actually nothing but the residues, that is reminders when any integer is divisible by b. Okay, so let us see its proof. Given that b greater than 1 be a fixed integer, okay, so it is a must be a positive integer, but it is a fixed integer, okay, and n be any arbitrary positive integer. Therefore n is any positive integer, any positive integer. Okay, now as b is fixed and n is any positive integer, both are positive but in which b is fixed, therefore n must be greater or equal by b. Since for each value of b we can choose the n, okay, as b is fixed, therefore obviously n is positive integer, which implies n must be greater or equal by b. Okay, now as here we get two integers n and b such that n is greater or equal by b, then we can easily apply here the division algorithm. Then by division algorithm, as n is greater or equal by b, then we have to express n as multiple of this b plus some remainder, as each ai take the values from 0 to b minus 1. Therefore the ai is nothing but actually the remainder value when any integer is divisible by b. Therefore by division algorithm, a naught lies between 0 to b, since n is a multiple of b. Now here there are two possibilities in between this b and q1. Either q1 is greater or equal by b, or q1 is less than b. If q1 is less than b, then we have to, again we get two integers q1 and b, in which q1 is greater or equal by b. Therefore we have to apply the division algorithm on these two integers, that is q1 and b. Let us take this one as 1, then applying division algorithm on q1 and b, which implies q1 is equal to b into some q2 plus remainder a1, such that 0 is less equal by a1, which is less than b. Let us take this one as equation 2. Now we have to put the value of q1 in equation 1. We get, put q1 in 1, we get n equal to b into q1. q1 is nothing but, sorry, b into q2 plus a1. Already we have used q1, so here we have to take q2. So q1 is nothing but b into q2 plus a1 plus a naught, which is nothing but b square q2 plus ba1 plus a naught. Let us take this one as a equation 3. Now in equation 2, again there are two possibilities, either q2 is greater equal by b or q2 is less than b. If suppose q2 is greater equal by b, if q2 is greater equal by b, then again we get two integers q2 and b such that q2 is greater equal by b. Then again we have to apply the division algorithm, which implies q2 is nothing but b into some quotient q3 plus remainder a2 such that 0 is less equal by a2, which is less than b. Now we have to put the value of q2 in equation 3, that is this n. Okay. Put q2 in equation 3. We get n is equal to b square into q2, but q2 is nothing but b into q3 plus a2 plus b into a1 plus a naught, and which is nothing but b cube q3 plus b square a2 plus ba1 plus a naught. Okay, this one is the n, and this step will be a third step. Okay, now as given that n is any arbitrary positive integer, as this one is a positive integer, so for this representation we fix the value of n. As we fixed out the value of n, then this process obviously terminates after some finite number of steps, but here we get one decreasing sequence. Here we get a decreasing sequence of integers, that is the sequence n. N is the greatest value such that n is greater than q1, which is greater than q2, which is greater than q3, and up to so on. It must be greater equal by 0, since values of qir lies between 0 to b. Okay, now n is expressed in terms of, first n is nothing but b into q1 plus a naught, as this one is the multiple of b and q1 both plus some remainder, therefore n must be greater than q1 is expressed in terms of q2 plus remainder, therefore q1 must be greater than q2, and so on. Therefore obviously we get one decreasing sequence of integers such that n is greater than q1 is greater than q2, and so on. Okay, now as this procedure will be terminate after some finite number of, terminate means it ends at some finite number of steps. Let us, if possible, suppose that it will be terminate at the m-1th stage. Suppose this procedure ends at m-1th stage. Okay, now we have to write this stage. Okay, as in third step we get q2 as b into, n equal to bq1 plus a naught is, this one is the first step, q1 equal to bq2 plus a1 this one is the second, and q2 equal to bq3 plus a2 this one is the third. Therefore m-1th step is nothing but 2m-1 plus 2m-1 equal to b into qm plus am-1, where 0 is less equal by am-1, which is less than b. As here the procedure will be stopped at this step, then obviously this qm is less than b. Since the procedure will if qm is greater equal by b, then we have to again go to next step. But here we have already supposed that this procedure will be stops at this stage, therefore qm must be less than b. Okay, now as qm is less than b, and which is greater equal to m, since all ai's are lies between also 0 to b. So let us, we have to take the value of qm as am. But at this stage we get n as At third step, we get n is b cube q3 plus b square a2 plus b a1 plus a naught. Therefore, at mth stage, we get n is nothing but, at mth stage, it is nothing but b to the power m into qm plus b to the power m minus 1 am minus 1 plus b to the power m minus 2 into am minus 2 plus up to so on ba1 plus a naught. This is at the mth stage. Therefore, but here we have taken the value of qm as am. So we have to just put qm equal to am this n. Then we get b to the power m am plus b to the power m minus 1 am minus 1 plus up to so on b into a1 plus a naught. That is, this can be written as am b to the power m plus am minus 1 b to the power m minus 1 plus up to so on ba1 plus a naught, and this one is the n. So which is the required representation, which is the required representation for the positive integer n. ओके, कुणाल काही डाऊट आहे?
No, sir.
Okay. Here there is one small mistake. Here we have to take the mth stage. Then only, since at the first step we get n equal to b q1 plus a naught. At second step we get q1. At third step we get q2. Therefore, at mth step we get qm minus 1. Okay. कुणाल काही डाऊट नसेल तर याचं पुढचं स्टेप बघायचं आपण.
Oh, sir.
Okay, now here we have proved that n can be expressed in terms of powers of b. Now we have to prove that this representation must be unique. That is, here we have to prove that the uniqueness of this theorem. Okay, uniqueness. For that, we have to consider there are two possible representations for the positive integer n. Suppose that there are two different representations are possible for positive integer n, and they are nothing but, first one is, we know first representation is nothing but am b to the power m plus am minus 1 b to the power m minus 1 plus up to so on a1 b plus a naught. This one is the first one, and second one is nothing but n equal to cm b to the power m plus cm minus 1 b to the power m minus 1 plus up to so on c1b plus c naught. These are the two different representations for the positive integer n. Okay, and they are distinct. Okay, now where the coefficients ai and cj, where I lies between 0 to m and j is also lies between 0 to m. Okay, with, and they satisfy, which satisfies, that is, these coefficients satisfies, that is, each ai is lies between 0 to b, and similarly each cj is also in between 0 to b. Okay, now Let's take this one as some. These are the equation 4. Take this one as equation 5 and this one as equation 6. Now subtracting equation 6 from 5. Subtracting 6 from 5, we get, okay, now LHS is nothing but n minus n, which is 0. Okay, on RHS, am minus cm b to the power m plus am minus 1 cm minus, sorry, am minus 1 minus of cm minus 1 minus of cm minus 1 b to the power m minus 1 plus up to so on plus a1 minus c1 into b plus a naught minus b naught, which is equal to 0. That is, this one is the RHS and this one is the LHS, that is n minus n will be equal to 0. Now let us put di as ai minus ci for each I lies between 1 to m. That is, we have to take the value of ai minus ci as di for each values, which value of I which lies between 0 to m, which implies the above equation becomes dm b to the power m plus dm minus 1 b to the power m minus 1 plus up to so on d1b plus d naught, and which is equal to 0. Therefore we get this one, this as this the equation, that is, take this one as a equation 7. Okay, now here we have taken the representation for n are different, therefore obviously here we get ai is not equal to ci for some I, for some I. Since if ai is equal to ci for each I, then these two representations are not different. As we have assumed that these two representations for n are different, then obviously here we get ai is not equal to ci for some I, which implies ai minus ci is not equal to 0 for some I. Okay, since ai and ci are different for some I, that is ai minus ci is nothing but di, which is not equal to 0 for some I. Okay, which is from given. As di is not equal to 0 for some I, so let k be the smallest subscript such that dk is not equal to 0. Let us consider k be the smallest subscript for which dk is not equal to 0. That is, या स्टेटमेंटचं मीनिंग हे आहे की k हा सगळ्यात लहान व्हॅल्यू आहे ज्यासाठी dk हा नॉट इक्वल टू 0 आहे. म्हणजे तुमचे k कुठून व्हॅरी होत आहे, म्हणजे i कुठून व्हॅरी होत आहे, i लाइज बिटवीन 0 टू m. म्हणजे हा i कुठंतरी एका ठिकाणी i इक्वल असेल k ला, आणि त्या केस साठी dk हा नॉट इक्वल टू 0 आहे. म्हणजे dk कुठपर्यंत 0 आहे, d नॉट d1 d2 अप टू सो ऑन dk मायनस 1 पर्यंत dk हा हे 0 आहे. परंतु ऍट k dk इज नॉट इक्वल टू 0. म्हणजे तुम्हाला dk कुठून नॉन, पुढचे सर्व टर्म हे नॉन झिरो मिळतील. म्हणजे dk प्लस 1 dk प्लस 2 अप टू सो ऑन dm हे नॉन झिरो असतील. आणखी d नॉट d1 d2 अप टू सो ऑन dk मायनस 1 पर्यंत 0 असतील. कोणाला काही डाऊट या स्टेटमेंट मध्ये?
नो सर. नो सर.
कळालं ना? हा, k हा स्मॉलेस्ट सबस्क्रिप्ट सच दॅट dk इज नॉट इक्वल टू 0, याचं मीनिंग कळालं ना?
हो सर.
d नॉट d1 d2 dk मायनस 1 पर्यंत 0 असेल आणि dk पासून पुढे तो नॉन झिरो असेल. ओके, dk plus 1 b to
सर
the
व्हिडिओ
power.
पॉज झालेला.
दिसते का व्हिडिओ?
हो सर.
Screen is visible?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Okay. dk plus 1 bk plus 1 plus dk b to the power k, and which is equal to 0. Okay. Now divide by b to the power k, we get as b is greater than 1, b to the power k must be greater than 1. So here possible that we can divide b to the power k. Okay. So divide by b to the power k, we get now dm b to the power m divided by b to the power k. This can be written as dm b to the power m minus k. Okay, so we can write this one as dm b to the power m minus k plus dm minus 1 b to the power m minus 1 minus k plus up to so on dk plus 1 b to the power k plus 1 divided by b to the power k, which is nothing but dk plus 1 b to the power k plus 1 minus k plus dk b to the power k, b to the power k gets cancelled. That is, this one can be written as dm b to the power m minus k plus dm minus 1 b to the power m minus k minus 1 plus up to so on dk plus 1 plus k minus k gets cancelled. Therefore this one is b, dk plus 1 into b plus dk, which is equal to 0. Now from this, dk is nothing but dk is equal to minus of dm b to the power m minus k plus dm minus 1 b to the power m minus k minus 1 plus up to so on dk plus 1 b. Okay. So let us take b common from the RHS. We get minus of b in 1. Okay. Since b to the power m minus k minus 1 into b is nothing but b to the power m minus k plus dm minus 1 b to the power m minus k minus 2, since we have taken b common, plus up to so on plus dk plus 1. Okay. Now dk is equal to minus of b into these terms. As dk is a multiple of b and b is greater than 1, then by the definition of divisibility, this b must divides dk. Okay, let us take this one as equation 8. As here we know that or it is given that each ak is lies between 0 to b. 0 is less equal by ak, which is less than b, and also each ck is in between 0 to b. So if we take as ak is greater equal by 0 and which is less than b, similarly ck is greater equal by 0 and which is less than b, then ak minus ck, whether it is positive or negative, that is modulus of ak minus ck must be less than b. Since ak is less than b and which is greater equal by 0, similarly ck is greater equal by 0 but less than b, then its difference must be less than b, whether it is positive or negative, that is modulus of ak minus ck must be less than b. But we know that ak minus ck, that is di is nothing but ai minus ci, then ak minus ck is nothing but dk, modulus of dk is less than b. So this one is equation 9. Now, whether these two statements are possible, that is B divides dk. Here given that B divides dk, and in 9 we get dk modulus of dk less than B. Whether these two conditions are possible.
No, sir.
हे कधीतरी पॉसिबल आहे का? बी डिवाइड ही करतो डीके ला आणि डीके ची जी व्हॅल्यू आहे मॉड्युलस डीके आहे जो लेस दॅन बी आहे, हे कधीतरी पॉसिबल आहे का? बी डिवाइड करतोय डीके ला, याचा अर्थ काय आहे? डीके हा बी च्या मल्टिपल मध्ये आहे. मल्टिपल मध्ये आहे तो ऑब्विसली मोठा असेल, लहान असेल, काय असेल, निगेटिव्ह असेल किंवा पॉझिटिव्ह असेल, पण मल्टिपल मध्ये तर असायला पाहिजे ना.
येस सर.
पण इथं काय मिळाले तुम्हाला? मॉड्युलस ऑफ डीके लेस दॅन बी. मॉड्युलस ऑफ डीके लेस दॅन बी म्हणलं तर त्याची पॉझिटिव्ह व्हॅल्यू ही मोठी नाहीये, निगेटिव्ह व्हॅल्यू ही त्याच्यापेक्षा मोठी नाहीये. म्हणजे हे दोन्ही स्टेटमेंट पॉसिबल नाहीयेत. म्हणजे हे आपल्याला चुकीची स्टेप मिळाली. बट विच इज कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन, विच इज नॉट पॉसिबल. So here we get a contradiction, and this contradiction arises due to our wrong assumption. Which assumption?
N can be expressed in two ways, two
Two
distinct ways.
different ways. So which implies n, that is representation of n, must be unit. Which implies representation of n must be unique. ओके, कुणाला काही डाऊट या प्रूफ मध्ये?
No, sir.
Okay, if there is no doubt, then the next theorem is let us see its statement. Let P of x is equal to summation k running from 0 to m ck a to the power x to the power k be a polynomial in x with integral coefficients ck. Okay, and if a is congruent to b modulo n, then we have to prove that p of a is congruent to p of b modulo n. Okay, here given that p of x, that is it is a polynomial in x with integral coefficient, that is these values ck are integers, and also given that a is congruent to b modulo n, and we have to prove that p of a is congruent to p of b modulo n. Let us see its proof. Okay, given that p of x equal to summation k running from 0 to m ck x to the power k be a polynomial in variable x with integral coefficients ck. Okay, integral coefficients ck, and also given that a is congruent to b modulo n, and we know the property, if a is congruent to b modulo n, then a to the power k must be congruent to b to the power k modulo n, which implies a to the power k is congruent to b to the power k modulo n for each k running from 0, 1, 2 up to so on. Yeah, sorry. Okay, as here we have to prove for the summation k running from 0 to m, then we have to take the value of k from 0 to m. Okay, now as a to the power k is congruent to b to the power k modulo n, again there is one property, if a is congruent to b modulo n and c is any arbitrary integer, then a into c is congruent to b into c modulo n, which implies ck, as ck is any arbitrary integer, then ck a to the power k is congruent to ck b to the power k modulo n. Okay, which is from if A is congruent to B modulo n and C greater than 0 be any arbitrary integer, then AC is congruent to BC modulo n. From that we get ACK e to the power k is congruent to CK b to the power k modulo n. But k is running from 0 to m. That is, here we get first one is nothing but that is first one is k equal to 0. C naught A naught is congruent to C naught B naught modulo n. In second one, C is congruent to C1B modulo n. In third one, C1 square is congruent to, sorry, C2 square is congruent to C2B square modulo n, and so on. At last step, we get Cm A to the power m is congruent to Cm B to the power m modulo n. If we add these m plus 1 terms, that is, this one is the first one, this one is second one, therefore there are m plus 1 terms. After adding these m plus 1 terms, after adding these m plus 1 terms, we get, since again there is one property, if A is congruent to B modulo n and C is congruent to D modulo n, then A plus C is congruent to B plus D modulo n. Therefore we can add these terms. Then after adding we get summation k running from 0 to m Ck A to the power k is congruent to summation k running from 0 to m Ck B to the power k over modulo n. Okay, now, but by given, P of x is nothing but summation k running from 0 to m, C coefficient Ck. Therefore, this one is nothing but polynomial in A, which is congruent to summation k running from 0 to m, Ck b raised to k is nothing but polynomial in B, and which is denoted by P of B modulo n. So here we get P of A is congruent to B modulo n. So if A is congruent to B modulo n, then P of A is congruent to P of B modulo n, and which is the required result. Okay, any doubt?
No, sir.
नक्की ना, असंच हो म्हणू नका, नाही तर परत मग सगळं झाल्यानंतर काहीच कळणार.
नाही सर, कळलंय सगळं.
ओके, ठीक आहे. आता हा आपण केला फायनाइट स्टेप साठी, दॅट इज के रनिंग फ्रॉम 0 टू m. वी कॅन ऑल्सो टेक फॉर द इन्फायनाइट एलिमेंट, दॅट इज के रनिंग फ्रॉम 0 1 साठी झालं. जरी तुम्हाला इन्फायनाइट साठी प्रूव्ह करायचं असेल तर करू शकतो. ओके, नाउ देयर इज वन मोर डेफिनेशन. If P of x be a polynomial in x with integral coefficients then we say that and n if P of A is congruent to 0 modulo n. Okay, if P of x be any polynomial in x with integral coefficients, then modulo n, if P of A is also congruent to 0 modulo n, then we say that A is a solution of this polynomial P of x in x. Okay, now depending on this definition, we have to see one theorem. Let A be a solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n, and if a is congruent to b modulo n, then we have to prove that then b is also a solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n. Here we have given that a be a solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n, and when we say that a is a solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n, whenever p of a is congruent to 0 modulo n, which is from this definition. As already we have given that a be a solution, then p of a is congruent to 0 modulo n, and also given that a is congruent to b modulo n, and we have to prove that b is its solution, that is p of x congruent to 0 modulo n has a solution b. Okay, see its proof. Given that a is congruent to b modulo n, okay, a is congruent to b modulo n, and p of x be a polynomial in x with integral coefficient. Then by previous theorem, that is, if p of x be a polynomial in x with integral coefficients and a is congruent to b modulo n, then p of a is congruent to p of b modulo n. As here we have given that a is congruent to b modulo n and p of x be a polynomial in x with integral coefficients, then p of a is congruent to p of b modulo n. Okay, again there is one property for congruence, that is, if a is congruent to b modulo n, then b is also congruent to a modulo n. As here p of a is congruent to p of b modulo n, which implies p of b is also congruent to p of a modulo n. Okay, and which is from this result. Okay, so give this one as a equation 1, and also it is given that a is a solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n. Okay, a is solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n, which implies p of a is congruent to 0 modulo n. Let us take this one as a equation 2. Therefore here p of a is congruent to 0 modulo n. Sorry, let us start from equation 1. P of b is congruent to p of a modulo n, and p of a is congruent to 0 modulo n. Then by transitivity, p of b is congruent to 0 modulo n, which implies p of b is congruent to 0 modulo n. Since again there is one property, if a is congruent to b modulo n and b is congruent to c modulo n, then a is congruent to c modulo n. Therefore, and here from equation 1 and 2, p of b is congruent to p of a modulo n, and p of a is congruent to 0 modulo n, which implies p of b is congruent to 0 modulo n. Then by the definition of solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n, here we get p is a solution of p of x congruent to 0 modulo n, and which is the required result. Hence the proof. Okay. Any doubt?
No, sir.
कोणालाच नाहीये का? नाही आहे ना डाऊट?
No, sir.
ओके, डाऊट नसतील तर लिव्ह केला तरी चालेल.